So good evening everyone and welcome to North America for round 7 in Montreal, Canada. Following the typical crash bang wallop style of Monaco, we move straight into another potential action filled event here at the ever popular Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Long straights, tight walls and differing tyre strategies make this race typically fun for all the drivers involved. Overtaking is possible, as is the chances to crash, so don't be surprised to see some unlikely high placed finishers. It can be a tricky track to nail the perfect lap and also sees a difference in setups. Do the drivers go for downforce to help them around the low traction areas, or is it all about maxing your engine down the straights? Only time will tell as to who got it right. So the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, located on the man-made Notre Dame Island, sees the drivers tackle 14 challenging corners, 6 of them to the left and 8 to the right. 3 DRS zones provide the drivers with plenty of opportunities to overtake, with the first and final turns providing some great action over the years. A very short pit lane will see drivers opting for different strategies as they scramble for track position. And will we see anyone end their race in the infamous Wall of Champions? Good evening everyone, my name is Alex Lilliart. Good to see everyone now slowly starting to come in. ILRT and all coming up with a thumbs up saying dry weekend. Thank you very much for that. At least I know how it's going to play out in both qualifying and the race. We've got quite a few drivers out on circuit at the moment. Just been watching Aaron complete his outlap. We'll now move to Blizzard if it does actually give us a decent camera angle then. So yeah, good evening to everyone. Hope your weekend has been good. Certainly some nice sunny weather out there where I am at least. Hopefully you've got the same as well. So we'll quickly talk about a few other things then. Penalties. Nothing is to be applied for qualifying and the race, although I do believe that Gonanen has already retired from the session for whatever reason. So there's no penalties. Everyone is free to qualify and race however they do see fit. We've got 2 reserve drivers in tonight. Will Murdoch, after his very impressive second place at Monaco, replaces the second Mercedes driver of Louis, who's not here tonight, and NSX Dusty, also the one of the ever reserve drivers. He's here tonight replacing Likitu in the Ferrari. The second Ferrari driver of Sterling West has picked up food poisoning mere minutes before coming to the track, which is why we've only got 19 of the 20 drivers. So we've got Truesdale then, the first driver to set a lap time here, 108.132, as we have yellow flags in sector 2. That's just cars going slowly, getting out of the way. So we've got Aaron then, he's coming down to complete his first lap unless he goes in the pits, which he does so we'll try and find someone else that's completing it. Sparks looks like he's on a hot one as he comes into the final chicane then, away from the Wall of Champions, very very close to it as well, opening up the DRS. 3 zones around here, and he crosses the line to go into second place on a 108.249. So the Drivers and Constructors Championships then. Truesdale, ever dominant so far. He's finished every race on the podium, a few wins as well. He leads on 119 points. All the way back in second place is VSR Wayne in the Alfa Romeo on 65. His teammate Rafa behind him on 61. And then Louis, who's not here tonight, is in 4th place on 50. And the Williams of Onyx in 5th place on 49. As for the Constructors, Alfa Romeo do still lead the way on 126. Toro Rosso in second on 120, Mercedes third 64, Williams in 4th on 53, and the Haas team in 5th on 50. So we've got 5 laps now being put out there. 108.1 is the fastest from Truesdale, 109.2 is from Liam Yeo. We'll bring up the details, see what's going on fitted then. So Dusty has completed his first lap on the medium tyres. I'll be expecting a few people to put the banker in on the medium and hards, then possibly make the change onto the softs. Now, the reason why I said beforehand was because it's such a short pit lane here, as you see, you know, basically the cars hurtle into the pit lane coming into the braking zone for the final chicane, and they come back out of it and completely bypass turn one and arrive on the outside of turn 2. Because of that, the race time between the 1 and the 2 stop strategy is a second, maybe 2 at most. So this could be one of the very few races this year where we do see a split of strategies, people starting on different tyres and either making the 1 or the 2 stop strategy. So it'd be quite interesting to call this as it goes on. Track position is quite key round here. There are a few overtaking opportunities, but you don't want to be bogged down in traffic, especially if you're on a 2 stop strategy. Make your first stop and come out behind a whole gaggle of cars that are going long on the 1 stop. You're really going to have to fight your way past to try and make sure you maintain a high track position. So it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers do. We know it's going to be a dry race as well, so there'll be no reason for these drivers to think about wet running or anything like that. So I don't know what's going to happen. I think most of the top 10 will probably go for the 1 stop, but I think quite a few outside the I should say most of the top 10 might go for the 2 stop, whilst quite a few towards the back might go for the 1 stop and try to climb up through the order by making less pit stops. Of course, less pit stops means less chances of making a mistake. So 8 drivers then set lap times as Francis now starts his first lap. We'll take a lap on board with a Toro Rosso driver as he takes us round the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Turn 1 and turn 2 successfully negotiated. Now coming up to the right left of 3 and 4. Be very careful here when you exit the car car will oversteer a little bit, clip the wall. Through 5, over the detection point for the first DRS zone, over to the right hand side, heavy braking for 6, try not to use too much of a curve on either points of the apex. The car becomes unsettled. Run the car a little wide, over the white line, opens the DRS for the first of 3 DRS attempts here. Now down over to the left hand side, underneath the bridge, brake heavily for 8 and then through 9 as well. Be careful not to invalidate through there, which he very well may have done. And then running up to over the DRS line to get himself ready for turn 10. He has backed out of this, but we'll stay on board with him anyway. This is the hairpin up turn 10. It's been made shortened over the last few years. And now just through 11, which is a little nautical kink. And also over the DRS line, which you can see just there. He's not using, no, he is using the DRS now, but he has backed off this line through turn 12, which isn't really a turn, it's another little kink. Then down to the final chicane for 13 and 14. Overtakes can happen into here and out of here as well. And you've got the infamous wall of champions on the right hand side. So Francis then has made a mistake. He's back into the pits. So 10 drivers have set lap times. Will Murdoch now on provisional pole with a 107.772. And look at that, VSR Blizzard up in second place on a 108.0, and Aaron up into third on a 108.1. So Truesdale then, who's generally been the quickest driver this season so far, currently down in 4th place. And what a nice surprise it is to see VSR Blizzard up on potentially at the moment on the front row of the grid. Still some quick guys out there yet to set lap times, looking at the likes of VSR Onyx, Rafa and Wayne as well. So Blizzard might move down a few positions, but still nice to see the defending champion with the horror show of a season he's having so far up there in second place. I'll tell you how bad his season has been. With 6 races in, he's currently down in 18th place in the championship. The worst defence, I think, so far from an ILR1 champion, I think, since this league was formed, to be honest with you. So he won't thank me for that. Keep pointing it out each and every week, but if he stops crashing each and every single week, maybe I'll leave him alone. But so far, Blizzard up into P2. So Wayne is on an out lap. His teammate's still in the pits. We've got Poe, Onyx. Onyx, I think, is on a fast lap, actually. I think he's just about to complete a fast lap. I believe he is, and he goes into provisional pole with a 107.680. So our prediction was proved right. He is a very quick driver immediately to the front of the field. More and more people coming in tonight then. Good evening to each and every single one of you. Reading some of the comments there, nothing really aimed at me or the drivers. It's pretty much you guys talking amongst yourself, which you pretty much do anyway. I'll leave you guys to chat amongst yourself. I'll focus back on qualifying then. So Onyx completing his in-lap now. Half the time in the session remains. 18-minute session here, 9.5 left to go. Here comes VSR Wayne then. Through the final chicane, opens up the DRS. You can see some cars to the left-hand side just coming out the pits. Hopefully they won't cut him up into turn 2. Rafa also on an outlap as well, just moving side to side to try and generate as much tyre heat as he can around the circuit, because the tyres do cool down quite a bit in sector 3, considering there's 2 long straights as well. The brakes as well, very important here. You want to keep the brakes at optimal temperature for as long as you can. So both the Alfa Romeo drivers yet to post lap times here, both running these soft tyres. Poe as well is coming into the final chicane, so this will be his first lap completed. So we'll see what he can do. It's certainly not going to be pole position. It's good enough for 7th at the moment for the Racing Point driver, a 108.524. Lambo on an outlap. Paris is on a quick lap, and he's 3 tenths up in the first sector, which is quite impressive considering it's about 20 seconds long. So Paris is going to be looking to improve his lap time as well. Yanul, after his very excellent 3rd place in Monaco, would have given him a world of confidence coming into this event as well to try and match that performance if he can. Both the McLaren drivers have been struggling this season to find consistency, and Yanul, certainly him, he retired from the 3 previous races. So we've got the Mercedes behind him of, who would that be? That would be Will Murdoch. And we've also got one of the Red Bulls as well. The order's changing. Sparks moves up into 3rd place. VSR Wayne up into 4th. We'll come back to his teammate Rafa, see if he can at least match his teammate's time. 4 drivers in their 107s right now. Pretty much everyone else nestled comfortably in the 108s. So out of the final chicane, opens up the DRS, sticks to the right hand side. It is technically the slightly shortest line run to the line, and his lap time's only good enough for 9th. Slightly surprised by that, and he's the best part of 2 tenths off of his own teammate. So it will be close in qualifying. It's 2 seconds between 1st to 15th, but Speed Barry set his lap time on the medium, so it's just over a second, 1.2 seconds actually, between the top 14. Oh, and Yanul's had a bit of an instant there. He's spun it coming out of turn 4. You'll be able to get that car pointed in the right direction. No damage on the car, so it looks like it's just a lazy little spin. He's managed to keep it out of the wall, but he will be back into the pit. So Dusty's on an out lap. We've got to try and find someone else that's quite quick. Truesdale then, he is on a flying lap. Number 96, Toro Rosso with that pink helmet. Currently down in 8th, he would not want to be in this position. Oh, he just clips the outside wall there, I think. He might have a bit of damage on that front wing. No, he doesn't, but he's certainly lost a little bit of momentum, and because of that, he's 200ths down on his previous best. He might get a bit of a tow here, or a bit deep into the hairpin, though, so he lost a little bit more time there. Is he close enough to get a tow from the cars in the front? Not really, so he's going to have to do this on pure grunt, and he's backed out. So, yeah, he's obviously made a mistake, and what is going on up front here? There's a lot of cars fighting over positions. Liam Yeo just trying to find himself some track space. We've got a Williams hurtling down to the final chicane there. Liam Yeo really has to jump out of it. And what is he doing? What is he doing? What is he doing? He's coming back into the pit. So he's just getting out of the way of a few drivers. We've got Dusty coming around to start a flying lap as well. It's me coming down in 17th. Lickle then is the last driver to post a somewhat competitive lap time. With those speed barriers, I think we could probably ignore because it's on the mediums. You can see that the drivers in the pits with just 6 minutes remaining. They're all staying on the soft tyres. So Blizzard then has retaken pole position here, completely unsurprised by me. And all of a sudden, Blizzard is finding some newfound confidence and newfound pace. Maybe Canada is just a circuit he likes. Maybe he's gone away to work on setups. Who knows? But currently right now, it's a Williams 1-2 in qualifying. Is it 1997 all over again or something? Because I can't remember the last time we've had both Williamses on the front row of the grid. That's exactly what they're doing at the moment. Will Murdoch putting in another impressive performance, I should say, if I don't have a seizure of my words. He's currently in 3rd place. Sparks as well, good performance from Red Bull driver, he's 4th. The Renault guys of Paris and Aaron Collingwood 6th and 7th as well, and Truesdale still down in 8th place. And he is going again on a fast lap. Was he coming into pits? Nope, he's coming into the pits. We've got a Williams behind, he's coming in as well. That'll be Blizzard. So this is the lull now. Dusty, Lickle are the only drivers out there at the moment on circuit, although VSR Wayne is going back on circuit. This is a little bit low now. Most of the drivers will be in the pits going out in the next couple of minutes. So I'll take this opportunity, like the drivers as well, to just take a breather for a few seconds. So just over 4 minutes left of the session. LR Gonnan down in 13th place. Now begins his final flying lap here, unless he makes a mistake and decides to go again. He's only in the EOS now. He's in the EOS mode number 5. He was in number 3 coming out of turn 2. So we've got VSR Wayne out on circuit as well. It's me and VSR Onyx also on outlaps as well. We'll just have a quick look then to see what's fitted and what's best. Yeah, pretty much everyone, as you can see, going for the soft tyres. So Gonnan and then coming down through the first detection, or DRS zone I should say, through 8 and 9 as well. Very tricky pair of corners that you can easily cut there as well. ETLs will probably be quite high for some of these drivers tonight. It's very easy to cut virtually every single corner on this circuit, so don't be surprised to see some position changes towards the end of the race. And someone just asking, does TRL Limitless drive here? He does technically an ILR. He's an ILR Xbox One, which is ILR1 for PS4. So next time you see ILR1 for the Xbox go live, you'll probably see Limitless racing in that, but he does, I think, have his own stream as well. But we don't care about Limitless. This is the PS4 side of things. We care about these 19 speed merchants currently making their way around the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Gonnan failed to improve. He's looking at only good enough for 13th place. So it's me also out on the circuit as well. He's a 10th up on his previous best. Needs to find several attempts really to get some sort of a respectable qualifying position. Currently down in 18th place at the moment. He has backed out. He's not happy, so he's going to go again with that then. Only a 10th up. He thinks he can do better, so he's saving EOS, as you can see. Blizzard on an outlap. Very, very slow outlap. Onyx is on a flying lap though, so we'll watch Onyx. He's about, I think it was about 200ths up on his previous best. He needs to find just under a 10th to dispose his teammates' very impressive performance so far and claim pole position here, but I think Truesdale can go a lot quicker. Still a few drivers in the pits, but most of them are now slowly starting to make their way out and circuit. And Onyx is now 200ths of a second down and very well might get himself a nice tow from his own teammate here. So teammates might be working together down this very long straight. Blizzard will get out of the way, I think, going into the final chicane, and then Onyx will probably reap that favour back to him. There you go, jumping out of the way. So Onyx would have gained quite a considerable amount of time going down into the final chicane, and if he does improve his time, maybe Onyx should do the same to Blizzard. And there we go, look at that, a 107.481. He found 2 tenths in the final chicane. So I think Onyx will now race around a little bit and then give Blizzard a bit of a tow as well, which is interesting because they're technically both fighting for pole position, and there's a lot of cars out on circuit ahead of Blizzard that he's got to negotiate his way around. But we'll stick with Blizzard because the rest of the guys have yet to start their flying lap. And Blizzard's caught Onyx a bit early here, and in fact Blizzard's almost a 10th down on his previous best, so this isn't working and Blizzard has backed out. You can see they're mixing down the EOS modes to 0. He'll definitely have enough time to get round and enough EOS to go again, so Blizzard won't get the helpful tow from his teammate. Other drivers, and Lickle is now starting his flying lap. Paris is, where is he? Just coming through 5 and 6. So we'll have a look at Truesdale. Where is he in all this? He's just starting his final lap as the Racing Point jumps out the way going through turn 2. So first car across the line to complete qualifying. Well, I'm not too sure, but there's still 40 seconds left. So we'll have a look here to see what's going on. Yellow flag in Sector 1 and Sector 3. That'll be just cars going slowly. Rafa's coming up to start his flying lap. Liam Yo the same as well. So here we go then, this is it. Everyone crossing the line now. This is the final attempt they've got. Wherever the McLarens in all this. Yanul is just starting his flying lap. Excuse me, Lambo is on his flying lap. We've got position changing up ahead as well. Paris has moved up into 3rd place, immediately retires from the session. His qualifying session is done. I think Poe's just moved up into 11th, possibly. Yep, he has, and immediately retires. Onyx and Blizzard, that's it. They cannot improve anymore. Lickle moves up into 3rd place as well, so we'll try and find someone else. Where's Truesdale in all of this? He's nearly 3 tenths up on his previous best. Don't think he'd be good enough for pole position. It's not. He fails to improve. 107.7 would have moved him up into 5th place, but he's invalidated, and our championship leader is down in 10th place. Aaron Collingwood has had a crash, possibly with Francis, on the last run. And so Aaron hasn't improved. Francis will not improve either. Where's VSR Wayne in all this? He's half a 10th down on his previous best. Rafa is, I think, coming into the final chicane. Oh, clips to wall. That would have killed it. Indeed it has. So Rafa will not improve. Wayne, I don't think, will improve unless he's got the mother and fathers of all top-end speed coming down into the final chicane. And it's looking very likely for a Williams 1-2. Wayne just clips to wall. Yanul moves up into 6th place, getting ahead of Sparks, pushing him down to 7th. Wayne fails to improve. He's in 8th. Speed Barry has backed out, and I think that is going to be qualifying all over and done with. So the VSR boys in Williams, Onyx and Blizzard lock out the front row. What a morale boosting performance by Blizzard to get himself up into 2nd place. Shout out to Lickle, 3rd place. Paris in 4th. Will Murdoch in 5th place as well. One of the McLarens of Yanul. I said he's going to build confidence after that 3rd place in Monaco. He stuck that McLaren on row 3 in 6th. Sparks, Wayne, Speed Barry and Aaron Collingwood complete the top 10. Right, there we go then. Just to confirm, the top 10 on the grid. Onyx did manage to beat his teammate by just over a tenth of a second. Blizzard could have got closer, maybe snatched it, but made a mistake on this final run. The rest of the top 10, as you can see there, Truesdale then down in 11th place. He does have a free choice of tyres, so he'll be grateful for that, but not what we'd expected from our championship leader. Rafa as well, poor, down in 12th ahead of Poe, Lambo, Francis, NXS Dusty, Liam Yo disappointing in 17th. It's me, Gonanen completes the qualifying grid. I'm going to take a short break here. I'll be back with you guys during the formation lap. So then I always ask any predictions before the race. We've got Jai Fletcher coming in saying that Onyx will bottle, and his top three will be Will Murdoch, Sparks and Onyx. Louis coming in saying Onyx should win this race as well, ahead of Speed Barry, Truesdale and then Blizzard. And some more support as well for Will Murdoch. Just looking at the tyres there on the left hand side, the top 10 start the race on the tyres they set their best lap on, and Speed Barry's in 9th on a set of mediums. Pretty sure well, if I've missed that, then fair enough. But if he's managed to do that, then fair play to him. That's an impressive result by the Mercedes driver. 9th place on the mediums. So outside of the top 10 then, Truesdale in 11th place. Poe, Lambo, Francis, Dusty and It's Me are all starting on the mediums. And we've got 3 runners on the hard tyres going as long as they can into this race. Rafa in 12th. Liam Yo in 17th. Gonanen down in 19th as Onyx M leads the field round on an incredibly slow formation lap. He is the pole man. He dictates the pace. He can race around if he wants, so he can back these guys up. All the cars now will be AI controlled, and it's a Williams 1-2 on the grid here at Canada, with a whole host of different teams behind as well, waiting to chomp at the bit and get past these guys. Blizzard again in 2nd place. Great performance by that Williams driver. He certainly needs a great performance as we jump on board with the 87 numbered hard car of Gonanen as he takes up his final spot of P19 on the grid. One driver missing tonight. That is Sterling West, who's picked up food poisoning just before the race. But you've still got 19 drivers racing to go here around the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Round 7 of Season 6. Getting into the busy throes of the season now. Onyx on the right, Blizzard on the left, 5 lights. What will we see in turn 1? The lights go out and away the drivers go now. It's a good start by both Williams drivers, but here comes Lickle up the inside and there's contact already in the background. There's a lot of contact in the background as well. What's happened here? Yanul has been spun, Truesdale has been spun as well, and Speed Barry has a collision penalty for taking out Yanul as they all race through the first couple of corners. Onyx and Blizzard Blizzard and Lickle very close together as well, and Paris takes advantage of that, moving up into 3rd place. Here comes Will Murdoch with a dive bomb up the inside of Lickle, who was unsettled with contact from Blizzard, but Onyx and Blizzard race away in P1 and P2. The rest of the field filter through behind as well. We'll jump on board with Wayne in 7th as Will Murdoch and Aaron Collingwood battle it out for 5th and 6th place, and Wayne almost gets his braking wrong there, but these guys are now starting to settle down into line. I'm not too sure what happened at the back of the field. Several cars got collected almost as soon as the race started. Here comes Speed Barry dancing and weaving around trying to get past one of the Alfa Romeos. They're all bottling coming up into the hairpin as well, but all managing to keep it relatively clean as we move back up towards the front of the field. Will Murdoch in 6th place is now behind Aaron in 5th as well. Looks like we've got fighting up ahead as well. Was it Blizzard just moving out the way it was? So Onyx will lead lap 1. As Blizzard gets very close to the wall. We've got yellow flag in sector 3. Is that Yanul going slowly or someone else spinning? I'm not too sure. We've got Speed Barry in the pits. Sparks, Yanul both have damage. I think Truesdale might possibly be in though. He's going to carry on. So a few drivers are pitting then at the end of lap 1 to fix accident damage. A bit of a cluster mess of a start that was. I did see a McLaren in the background spinning, and then Truesdale was completely off the circuit on the run down to turn 1. But Onyx and Blizzard won't care. It's still a Williams 1-2. Paris in 3rd place, and Liam Yo comes into the pits and immediately retires from the race. Another disappointing end to that Red Bull drivers race. So Paris in 3rd, already over a second away from the Williams pair. He might just scamper off into the distance here and battle amongst themselves. Lickle looking very racy in 4th. Sparks also retires. So it's both the Red Bull drivers out at the end of lap 1. A disappointing day for that team, getting caught up in other people's accidents. I fell off of the start line, but the rest of these guys won't care. Both of them leave the session in disgust. So Lickle then hot on the chase of Paris for 3rd place. He's bringing along a whole host of drivers further back as well. Do we see any mistakes coming into or out of the final chicane? The Alfa Romeo drivers up into 7th and 8th as Onyx sets a new fastest lap. So we'll bring up the position changes. And Paris has gained 1. Aaron has gained 5 positions. Look at that, 10th all the way to 5th. And a whole host of guys in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th have all made positions up, because Liam Yo and Sparks have lost positions. Yanul, Speedberry and Truesdale have been spun down to the back of the field as well. So the position order inside the top 10 has certainly changed a little bit here. Speedberry and Yanul both making pit stops. So Truesdale has neglected to not come into the pits. Maybe he doesn't have any damage on that car, but he's going to find the going tough from here to score a positive result. But he knows he's the best part of 60 points ahead in the championship. He can afford a bad race or two, as Lambo very close to the back of Rafa. Rafa obviously struggling early on these hard tyres. They'll come in to the effect later on in this race. He's thinking about moving to the turn 10 hairpin, but he's got DRS. He'll know he's got DRS as well. So he might try something going into the final chicane. We'll come back up to the leaders then. This is the first time they've had DRS down this long straight. And Blizzard and Onyx just pulling away from the rest of the field. Will Murdoch's not close enough to try and move. The rest of the midfield, they're very close together. We'll jump back on board with Lambo. P9 at the moment. He can see P8 just ahead of him. As we've got other moves going on, that's Will Murdoch getting past Aaron Collingwood. So Will back up into P5. Putting the Renault driver down into 6. He's bringing Wayne along with him as well. Rafa obviously struggling for pace early on those hard tyres. Got a whole host of medium runners behind him. It's going to be crucial for Rafa to try and keep as many of these drivers behind as possible. It's going to aid his advantage in gaining positions the longer this race goes on. And the top 2 have now broken away. 3rd and 4th have broken away from Will and Aaron behind. And Aaron's made a mistake there. And we've got a yellow flag in sector 2. What's happening down here? We've got Poe going very slowly as well. Francis leaves the session. Where's Francis in all this? He's left the session still carrying on. Dusty, I think, is going slow. Poe has put it in the wall. And Yanul is out of the race. What is happening at the back of the field here? It's Me is out as well. What is happening back here? I need an instant replay if I can, because Dusty has damage on the front wing. I can only assume that some of these guys further at the back have had an almighty accident between all of them. Francis has left the session. It's Me, Poe and Yanul have all immediately retired. And Truesdale has been gifted all the way back up into 11th place because of it. Francis is ghosted. Dusty has damage. Speed Barry, I think, has made a pit stop as well. He has, because he's only done 2 laps on those tyres. So, yeah, answers in the postcard please. I have no idea what happened back there, but something has happened between all them drivers, and most of them have left the session in disgust. It looked like to me that Poe intentionally put the car into the wall, and to be honest, It's Me and Yanul probably retired healthy cars on track. Francis has left the session with his car on track, so don't be surprised to see some reports come through from the stewards after this race. Some of the guys further back in the field decide to take matters into their own hand and have a few little crashes. And already 19 drivers started. We're technically down to 13 because Francis has left. And again, the Williams drivers carry on their merry way. P1 for Onyx, P2 for Blizzard. Will team orders come into effect, or are they free to race? We'll have to wait and see. Paris, though, 2 seconds back, is bringing Lickle along with him. He's putting in some really stellar performances this season. Pulled away from Will in 5th, VSR Wayne in 6th, Aaron in 7th. Lambo has now managed to get past Rafa, but he's got a very good gap behind to everyone else as Blizzard, drumroll please, becomes, I should say, the first driver to pick up a free second time penalty. So Rafa is pretty much safe now in 9th place. Aaron again making a mistake coming out the final chicane, and Lambo is gifted P7. I've got a feeling that Aaron might be another driver that's going to put it in the wall momentarily because he seems a bit unsettled in that car. Truesdale up to P10 because Gonanan's in for a new front wing. Francis, we know, has left the session. Speed Barry is a long way back, as is NSX Dusty. And Lickle and Paris are fighting, coming through 6 and 7. And Paris does hold on to that P3 for now, but with the DRS, Lickle might try a move here into 8 and 9. It's not the best place to try and overtake. Turn 10 is good, but he'll know that the DRS line is just here. So we'll have DRS, even if he does manage to complete this move, will come off board the Haas driver. Paris just locks up the right front there, Lickle up the inside. And it's going to be a drag race, I feel, down into the final chicane. And I think Paris has damage here. Look at that left on the right front of Paris. He's clipped the wall somewhere and he's got damage on that front wing. So that may be why he's been losing touch to the leaders. As it looks like Blizzard is in early then. And we've got Paris coming into the pits as well. Might be a few other drivers pitting in early then. They are indeed. Will Murdoch is in the pits. Aaron Collingwood also in. So most of the soft runners immediately into the pits in at the end of lap 6. Blizzard going for the mediums, Paris going on to the hards. Will Murdoch's mediums, Aaron Collingwood, what's he doing? He's going on to the mediums as well. So this is quite telling. We might be able to start to see the first indication of 1 and 2 stop strategies. Yanul, who retired a few laps ago, now leads the session. So Onyx is now in the lead, 4 seconds ahead of Lickle. Wayne and up to 3rd place. Lambo 4th, Rafa in 5th. We know that everyone from 4th down will be going long, as Blizzard has managed to get out comfortably ahead of Paris. And Aaron has lost a bit of time as well. He's behind Will Murdoch, and he's a long way behind Will Murdoch. So I think then that Aaron's had a front wing change possibly. Paris, did he have a front wing change? Was he carrying that damage? He's carrying the damage on. You can see that on the front right. He's missing that end plate, so it's going to hurt him a little bit. And he retires from the session whilst on track as well. That is ridiculous, and does it in front of Will Murdoch as well, who won't be thankful for that. So these drivers are dropping like flies now. We might have a virtual safety car, a safety car before this, and we do have a VSC. So I think everyone, Lickle should be pitting in. Does Wayne pit underneath the VSC? He doesn't. He carries on. He'll be ruining that. And I think there might be some other drivers that potentially might pit under the VSC. So Paris then retires a healthy car on the circuit. That's a big no-no in the ILR stewards' eyes. Jai Fletcher coming and saying Paris pen incoming. Yes, pretty much. You can guarantee he's probably going to have a quali ban for that. So the order's now completely changed. Lap 8 of 35. So much has happened already. We've lost 6 drivers. 7 if you count Francis. At this rate, we're going to have no one finishing this race. So we're still running under the VSC at the moment, but I'm expecting it to go green within the next few seconds. VSR Wayne might have thrown away a potential win here by not pitting under the VSC. We'll have a look as well who has made a pit stop under all this. So the top 3 haven't. The top 3 have not made a pit stop. So VSR Onyx 2 seconds now ahead of Blizzard. Lickle is looking at a very strong P3. Will Murdoch in 4th. Truesdale may very well be in 5th, but he's just pitted again for the soft tyres, so clearly he's on a 2-stop strategy. It looks like Lambo there, as Wayne, I should say, has got caught out by the VSC. And look at this is a battle for the lead, and I don't think Wayne will like this too much because he's probably going to want to come into the pits. And indeed, you can see there, he just backs out a little bit, allows Lambo the space and the move because Wayne is coming right into the pits to get off those soft tyres. So Lambo then in the McLaren now takes the lead of this race. Rafa moving up into 2nd place. And then Onyx and Blizzard will be up into P3 and P4, which is true to be P1 and P2. Lickle as well, looking good for a podium. And sticking with these Williams guys, VSR Wayne has to go for the one-stop strategy now because he knows he's lost a lot of time by electing to not pit under the VSC, and comes out in P7 ahead of Truesdale, who we know is definitely on a 2-stop strategy. And I think maybe Onyx, Blizzard, Lickle and Will Murdoch might be on a 2-stop strategy as well. I don't really think they're going to be able to take a set of medium tyres the best part of 27 or 28 laps. I'll be very surprised if they manage to do it. So let's keep an eye on VSR Wayne because he's on the hard tyres and going to the end. Same for Speed Barry as well, but he's quite a long way back. So this order will continue to chop and change, as you can imagine. It's Dusty down in 12th place, picks up a 3-second time penalty. Aaron all the way down now in 9th place. Gonanen kept it quiet, retired early on in qualifying. Not too sure if he retired for his own choice or crashed on his first outlap, but he's in 10th. Head of Speed Barry, Dusty, and Francis, we know, has left. So these drivers carry on. They've got an opportunity for points. I'm pretty sure Rafa's just clipped the wall there. He has. I did see a bit of debris flashing around in the back, and Rafa then has clipped the wall of champions. You can see there on the front right, he's missing an end plate. So that's going to go against him in his handling. Certainly he'll be a bit understeery in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Truesdale sets a new fastest lap on those soft tyres. So I don't know if Onyx would have seen that or not, but he's certainly going to know and tell that he's going to be gaining hand over fist on Rafa ahead. Rafa has damage and he's running long on these hard tyres. Have a look at Onyx. He doesn't have any damage as far as I know. Blizzard, I think, is okay. So these Williams drivers doing everything right at the moment, but question marks still remain about when they're going to pit. Onyx's front wing is fine, and I think Blizzard's is okay as well. It is. So we'll have a look at Lickle. He seems okay. We've got Moose further back here as well. It's Truesdale just getting past VSR Wayne, which is to be expected. Truesdale frighteningly quick on those soft tyres. VSR Wayne obviously on the harder of the three compounds, the Whitewood hard tyres. We've got Onyx getting past Rafa then. Can't say I'm surprised. Damage on that front wing will be hurting for Alfa Romeo driver, and Blizzard will be looking for an opportunity to try and close up as well. As Lickle cuts the final chicane one too many times, picks up a 3-second time penalty. And a few people coming in saying that it should be an easy Onyx win from here. Yeah, I think he's the favourite, to be honest. Blizzard is a couple of seconds back. Lickle has penalties and he's a few more seconds back. But keep one eye on VSR Wayne, because he might be a factor towards the end of this race. Truesdale, we know, has to pit as well, but he's decided to go for a completely different strategy and basically double stint on the soft tyres to try and catch up with the cars in front of him. Then maybe go into the mediums before the end of this race. So championship leader, it's a quiet recovery drive. He's been gifted a handful of positions due to all of those DNFs at the bottom of the screen. But this is a damage limitation race for Truesdale. He qualified in 11th, outside the top 10 for the first time this season, and was involved in an incident at the very start of the race. We saw him backwards in the grass, not even before turn 1. So for him to be picking up some good points here tonight, I think he'll be disappointed with how the weekend has gone for him, but he'll be pleased to at least pick up some points. He can afford a few dirty races, a few bad races I should say, because of his very healthy championship lead. So Blizzard is now right up with Rafa. Excuse me. And this is really not the place on circuit where he wants to catch what is now a slower car, because there's no real way through here. Maybe into turn 6, the left-hander coming up here. We'll get into 8, which will be the right-hander at the end of the first DRS zone. That'll be the best opportunity coming up now. Other than that, it'll be the hairpin at 10. And then obviously the double DRS straights towards the back of the circuit. And Rafa doesn't really defend too much. He knows that his position is pretty much going to be lost. That's the worst camera angle for me. Oh, and Rafa had to take avoiding action there because Blizzard didn't leave him too much room. Or it should be said that Rafa tried to stay alongside him when the move was gone. So the Williams boys are now up into P2 and P3, and Onyx is now starting to give chase to VSR Lambo ahead, going long on these medium tyres. And we saw last week, with a very positive result. A shame to see him at the race. Lambo is the second McLaren driver that's desperate for a high placing some point this season. Can't get much higher than he is at the moment in P1, but I think that's about to change. Onyx pulls out of the slipstream of that McLaren, and an easy, simple, as-you-like move into turn 1. Lambo puts up no fight whatsoever. He knows he can do nothing against that Williams at the moment. We've got a car going slowly up ahead. I think that's Francis, so he'll be able to just drive straight through him. So Onyx back into the lead of this race, which he wants to hold dearly. Lambo in second, Blizzard in third, Rafa holding on vainly. Lickle completes the top 5. Lap 13 of 35. So much has happened already. I'm expecting more action to come in the middle part of this race. So Littleton hunting down Rafa. Oh, that's a nice move up the inside. I wasn't expecting a move there, and Rafa leaves the space open as well as his teammate Wayne picks up a 3-second penalty. Littleton being catching Rafa at quite a vast rate of knots, and Rafa really is struggling now. As Jay says, this track is horrible enough to drive without damage, let alone with. Some people love this circuit, others hate it. And Rafa at the moment isn't really putting in a stellar performance. He's hindered, of course, by that damaged front wing, and he's dropping like a stone through the top 10 at the moment. He'll be thankful that the rest of the field behind him are sort of spread out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds between most of the drivers, so he won't be losing too many positions from now on. But I wouldn't be surprised if Rafa decides to pit early, starting on the hard tyres. He wants to try and go as long as possible, stay on that one-stop strategy. Lambo doing the same as well. 14 laps completed now in the medium, so it's quite clear that he's going on to the one-stop strategy. Same for Rafa as well. The question marks still remain over those medium runners that have been on those tyres now for the best part of 7 or 8 laps. Can they get to the end, or will they have to pit again? My reckoning is they may very well have to pit, as Rafa picks up a 3-second time penalty. Can't say I'm surprised. That car will be understeering like a bus. So we'll have a look further down the order then, see what's going on. Like I said, it's a bit of a field spread, so not much action. Truesdale still pounding around on those soft tyres. His second set on those soft tyres. VSR Wayne in 8th place on the hards. He'll be going to the end. I mean, it's Aaron Collingwood and Gonnanan completing the top 10. Speedberry and Dusty quite a long way back, and I think Dusty's just clipped the wall there, possibly, was there? Or was it just a leaf, a bit of foliage being thrown up from the side of a track? I think it was. There's a Racing Point front wing you can just see there on the screen. I believe it's from, well, obviously from one of them, which is why they retired. Francis a long way back, disconnected from the session. So we'll have a look at fastest lap. Who holds that? It's Truesdale with a 10.430, so the extra championship point will be going to him if he does keep it. Lambo pits in off of those medium tyres. He'll lose a few positions here as to be expected, but he's going onto the hard tyres. So if Lambo can keep it clean, you know, number 14 orange and blue McLaren, he's looking good for a very strong top 5 here. He won't get jumped by Aaron, because as you can see there, that's the beauty of his pit lane exit, right out, bypassing turn 1, rejoining the circuit on the exit of turn 2. And Lambo can push on now, safe in the knowledge that his tyres will definitely get him to the end, down in 8th place. But he can certainly move up a few. He'll move up ahead of Truesdale, that's for sure, because he definitely needs to pit again. So this is now really the true order, I feel. Well, actually, Rafa's still out there, isn't he? And Truesdale has to pit. So question marks will remain over the guys in 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 5th. Will they need to pit again for another set of mediums? Onyx leads 5.5 seconds ahead of Blizzard. Lickle hanging on valiantly to Blizzard at the moment, just 2.5 seconds back. Rafa continues to lose time, and Will is now starting to close in as well, just over a second away, agonisingly just outside that DRS detection window of a second. And Truesdale as well is lapping similar pace to Will. That's mainly because I think his soft tyres are pretty much past their best at this point, and Truesdale in fact does come into the pit. So is it mediums or hard tyres? What is he going to challenge for? It might be the hard. Soft hard is certainly a very a random tyre strategy to run, but he had to do something different to regain all those lost positions that he had at the start, and indeed is onto the hard tyres. So Truesdale will drop down. He'll keep in P10 as other drivers have managed to move up, and Will is now within a second of Rafa. So coming out of here, we should have DRS. He does. The beep, the audible beep in the air, the finger on the button, and now Will has got his sights firmly set on a full attack mode here to try and get past the Alfa Romeo, who's been valiantly holding on with that damaged front wing for the best part of about 8 or 9 laps now. But you feel that Rafa will be getting closer and closer to his pit stop window, and will be able to do anything here. Coming down the back straight. Into the final chicane, do any of them make a mistake? Nope, Rafa decides to pit, which is a bit unsettling for the car behind. I've noticed myself when I was league racing, this is the first year on this, or the first game I should say, where I haven't decided to league race, strictly commentary. And when I was at Canada league racing, you're behind someone like that and you're getting your braking point right, you're watching the car in front of you as well, and all of a sudden they seem to speed up. You're wondering what's going on here, and you see them dart off into the pits, and it can unsettle you just a little bit. So Rafa has had the front wing change. He's coming out onto the medium tyres. He'll drop down, I think, it's going to be close between him and Truesdale here. Truesdale flashes past into turn 1, but we know Rafa will gain all that time back with the pit lane exit. They're going to be almost side by side coming through 2. But Truesdale gets him at 9th position. Going to the end on the hard tyres. Rafa going to the end on the mediums. So some of these guys will have to pit again, we know that. Wayne now up to 5th place. Lambo looking very strong in P6. And Liam Yo coming into the stream saying I should just stop with league racing. Nope, keep at it. It's only round 7 of 21 after this race. We're only a third of the way through the season. You should have, could have won at Baku. He was on for a strong result at Monaco as well. So don't let the instance dishearten you somewhat. Keep pushing and plugging away. And I'm sure the positive results will arrive to you sooner rather than later. I don't like seeing people leave the leagues because they're disheartened with previous results. There's always a reason for it. Just keep plugging away, keep practicing, keep focused, keep pushing hard, and I'm sure the results will eventually come. Look at Yanul last week, poor start to the season, picked up 3rd at Monaco. Look at Lambo tonight, a very, very poor season. He's running in 6th place and going to gain positions. And Blizzard as well, what a horror show of a season he's having. Although he's just picked up a 3-second time penalty, he is running in 2nd place. We've got a virtual safety car out. Dusty's crashed somewhere, I'm not too sure where. And Speed Barry comes into the pits again, taking advantage of this. So if the VSC stays out, we might see a couple of the medium runners decide to pit. Speed Barry's taking advantage of that fact, but he's all the way down in 11th. And DRS is being enabled. We go green flag racing again then. So Dusty's crashed somewhere on circuit. And we've had the virtual safety car for the 2nd time. So Onyx then completing lap 19 of 35 has a very healthy 8-second lead over his teammate Blizzard, who has time penalties. Don't know if Onyx has any. Again, for those of you wondering why I don't check or why I don't look, I like to call the race as I see it, call the action as it comes, go with the flow of the race, and then wait for the surprise and the suspense at the end to see if people have time penalties and get moved up and down the order. But Blizzard still in 2nd place, Lickle in 3rd, Will holding a good gap, 2 seconds to Lickle. It stayed the same pretty much for the last few laps. Wayne and Lambo though, 5th and 6th on these hard tyres. And they are in for a good opportunity for some strong points here. Wayne certainly needs it. Didn't score at Monaco. Lambo certainly needs a positive result. And Aaron, 13 laps now completed on the mediums. Gonanan's completed 14 on those mediums. Rafa, we know, won't be stopping again. Same for Truesdale as well. And they're very close together on circuit actually. 1st and 3rd in the championship, fighting over 9th and 10th. Didn't think I'd be saying that coming into Canada, but as I said at the beginning of the stream, don't be surprised to see some drivers pick up some really top end results here with all the incidents and carnage that we see in this race. So Truesdale will be pushing on in P10. Speed Barry a long way back in 11th. He'll be hoping and praying at least one more driver falls out of this race as Dusty leaves the session. Francis is still pounding around, but we know he's ghosted. Yeah, he has. So Blizzard does come in then at the end of lap 21. Same for Will Murdoch as well. I thought it'd be a very, very big ask for these guys to do so many laps on the medium tyres. Should be medium to medium for both of these guys. That'll be the simple 2-stop strategy. Indeed it is for both of them. Oh, and Blizzard's having a front wing change here, so that's going to drop in behind Will Murdoch. So all of a sudden, Blizzard's podium is looking in threat here. In fact, it's looking really badly in threat. Excuse me, because Wayne and Lambo have managed to jump ahead into 3rd and 4th place. Aaron up into 5th as well, but I think Wayne, no, he is out behind him. So Aaron's up into 5th, Will down into 6th. I keep getting them too mixed up. And Blizzard all the way down into 7th now. We've got Rafa getting past Gonanan for 8th. So Rafa's recovery is now starting. And I'm sure Truesdale will try to fight his way through in the next lap or two. So Onyx and Lickle will be pitting off those medium tyres, which will hold the race lead to VSR Wayne. Lambo will be looking good in 2nd place, and Aaron will be 3rd, but I think he might be pitting. So it's a battle for, I think, the final podium spot between Will, VSR, Blizzard and Rafa as well. Onyx already into the pits, Lickle coming in as well, as you would expect. Wayne and Lambo will certainly carry on. So this is looking like a good race now for Wayne and Lambo. Let's just have a look at the leading two, see where they are. Well, Onyx will retake the lead of this race. That I was sure about anyway. Which he comfortably does. Where's Lickle and all this? He's still in the pit lane, still on the limiter. Wayne is definitely through into P2. will jump on board with Lambo. Does Lickle manage to get back past him? He doesn't. Let's have a look at Lickle, see where he is in all this. Oh, cutting the white line there. He'll have to be careful of that in his desperation to stay ahead of Aaron ahead. So Onyx retakes the lead of this race. He's good to the end. Wayne and Lambo will be going to the end on these hard tyres, but they'll be a lot slower than some of these guys behind. Lickle in 4th is now looking at a P2 because Blizzard has had a front wing change. Will Murdoch is looking at a P3. Aaron getting very out of shape there on those very, very used medium tyres, and Will just dances around the outside into turn 8. Says thank you very much to P5 is me, and Blizzard will be desperate to follow his way through now. So much quicker, as you can imagine, on those fresh medium tyres up the inside to the hairpin at turn 10 as well. Get the braking right, little puff of smoke from the front right, no harm, no foul, and Will and Blizzard managed to dispose Aaron of that P5, push him down into 7th, and I think Aaron will probably be pitting at the end of this lap. The hard runners will still be carrying on. No, Wayne's coming in actually. Wayne is pitting. So he didn't think he could do 2/3 of this race on a set of hard tyres. So Lambo now up into 2nd place. Can he hold on to what will be an unlikely podium here? Blizzard then back up to speed. 10.314 as a new fastest lap. And Will right close behind Lickle now. Blizzard is as well. And these guys will be closing right up on Lambo. So Lambo's mirrors are going to be full in the next lap or so of 3 very quick guys behind on fresher, quicker tyres as well. And I do feel that Lambo, unfortunately, it's been a valiant effort by the McLaren driver, but I don't think he's going to be holding on to this podium position. It would be great if he did, of course, as Blizzard and Will Murdoch exchanged positions, and Blizzard went really heavy there into the turn 8-9 chicane. But he's kept the position. And now Blizzard is starting his recovery back up to the higher places after that front wing change. So can Lambo hold on to this elusive P2? Don't think it's going to happen, to be honest with you. I think Lickle, Blizzard and will eventually fight their way past, but Lambo hopefully puts up a fight, hopefully defends hard, picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting at the final chicane, and here comes Lickle then with the DRS. It's the first opportunity he's got. Lambo hangs into the middle of the circuit there, and he's had to take avoiding action. Lambo's off the circuit. He's going to lose that position to Lickle and possibly to Blizzard as well. Where's Will Murdoch and all of this? He's managed to keep ahead of Will, who's lost a bit of time, and Blizzard picks up another penalty here then. So Blizzard really is racking up these 3-second time penalties. He's in danger of not finishing on a podium here. And poor old Lambo there, running wide, coming through turn 1. Taking too much speed on the outside, runs across the grass, loses that P2 as well. And immediately over to the right hand side then. Doesn't put up any fight against Will Murdoch. Lambo knows that he's just racing for points and pride here. It's a shame that Lambo didn't put up too much of a fight, but he pretty much threw it all the way, running wide on the exit of turn 1. So there is really your true top 4 now. Onyx well clear in the lead, lap 24 of 35. It's between Lickle, Blizzard and Will Murdoch to sort out the final podium positions. Here comes Blizzard with the DRS. It's back to a Williams 1-2 then. Great top end speed from that Williams driver there. And he'll have the DRS as well, again, going down into turn 1, so Lickle won't be able to get back at him. And Will Murdoch pushing on here as well in P4. Now 11 laps to go, including the one these guys are on at the moment. And these guys are going to be fighting tooth and nail over 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So leaders now in lap 26 of 35. Louis coming in there saying, can you put the HUD and timer on? There you go, my wish is my command. All the information is now relevant to you. Hopefully that's what you wanted. So looking at Rafa then here, slowly creeping up on Lambo, who's giving up the podium there. And Rafa will be looking to try and get up into 5th place. As Wayne jumps ahead of Gonanen, who's coming into the pits off of those medium tyres as well. So Aaron up to 9th. Speed Barry, oh, it's going to be close between these two. Gonanen coming out on the soft tyres. So he might be going for the fastest lap as well. Speed Barry flashes past on the left-hand side to take that P10 and will be able to keep it as well. So Gonanen out in 11th, and he'll now be hoping that someone falls off the circuit. Onyx for 13.5 second lead over Blizzard. He's still got Lickle and Will Murdoch behind him. This could potentially be a very, very good scrap for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. We'll have a look at the ERS figures as it stands. Will Murdoch then ERS number 4. He's in the mid-30s. Lickle around about the same as well. Blizzard saving all of his ERS, so he might come into he might come in trouble down into turn 1 here. Certainly if Lickle gets a good exit, which he does here for DRS as well. And Blizzard's going to have to defend the inside line if all of his might. Here comes the hard drive around the outside into turn 1. Can he hold it? Blizzard gives him the squeeze, forces Lickle to back off, and that might give Will a golden opportunity. He's going to try and hang it around the outside. But Lickle says, no sir, I'm not giving this podium up. I want 2nd, I'm not giving up 3rd. And these guys have got to keep it cool, calm and collected, but as aggressive as you can as well. They're all evenly matched on pace, evenly matched on tyres as well. And it's could very well come down to a last lap move between one of these guys to see who does take the 2nd, 3rd positions on the podium. Lambo is continuing to lose time. Rafa is now out with him. So I feel it'll only be a matter of time until Rafa manages to get past Lambo. An opportunity for a podium. It's quite clear then that the 2-stop strategy has worked over the 1-stop. There is very little time difference, race time difference between the 1 and the 2-stop strategy. But it's quite clear to see then that Lambo's 1-stop hasn't worked for him. DRS now in effect for Rafa. Getting an extra little bit of tow as well as Blizzard and Lickle are changing positions up ahead. But I'm looking at this battle. Rafa takes that P5 quite comfortably going into the final chicane and then cuts the chicane for good measure as well. So what's happening up here? Blizzard, Murdoch and Lickle are exchanging positions. Something has clearly happened between these three. Don't worry, there's going to be more moves between these guys. I don't think this is over just yet. Certainly if Will and Lickle can hold on to within a second of Blizzard, if they can keep getting DRS off that Williams, then he's going to pull him along with him. And Lickle might try something. Will feels we need to defend going into 6, which is going to make his line a little bit more shallow coming out of the corner as well. But a good exit by the Mercedes driver, and Lickle will be cursing that one. He thought he might have had an opportunity down into 8. And Blizzard is slowly starting to pull away. Oh, very twitchy though coming out of the chicane. Did he make contact with the wall? It'll be very telling if he has. And Will defends the inside into the hairpin. Lickle will try a little cutback here if he can on exit. Try and get a better exit if he can. We're looking at Blizzard's front wing here to see if he's got any damage. He doesn't. So we'll look at Will and Lickle then. Both have DRS as you would imagine. We'll jump on board with a Haas driver. Yeah, good top end speed from Will. Lickle can do nothing about it. And which one of these gets a better exit from the chicane? Oh, Blizzard making contact with the wall again. And here comes Lickle. You can see him in the left-hand mirror. He's up the inside now. And Blizzard very slow as well into the chicane. Oh, and Lickle's to left is braking very late. And just tags the back of Blizzard. Puts his car into a little bit of a sideways spin. And these two are fighting tooth and nail over 3rd and 4th. And Blizzard is very slow down those main straights as well. Will picks up a 3-second time penalty. It's all kicking off with these three guys. There's no battles anywhere else on circuit. This is the one to keep focused on. 29 of 35 laps completed. And you've got Rafa as well, who might have a say in this because he's slowly catching Will Murdoch and Blizzard exchanging positions again for 2nd and 3rd. I think Blizzard might have a bit of damage. It isn't visual on the screen, but something is definitely wrong with that Williams car because Will has managed to breeze his way past. And here comes Lickle as well. He might fancy up the inside into the hairpin. He does indeed. And Blizzard leaves him the space. Gives him a little nudge wide as well, and Blizzard has gone from 2nd to 4th in the space of just a few corners. Now can Blizzard get back at him as well? He's got the DRS as you can see. He's very close to the back. Lickle up the inside or on the inside line to the final chicane. Can these guys keep it clean and get their braking right? They can indeed. And Blizzard loses out there. He's losing time. I think he might have a bit of extra damage on that front wing, even though we can't see it. And now Will and Lickle start this fight over 2nd and 3rd. All of this is allowing Onyx to absolutely scarper off into the distance. He's gained 4 seconds in the last 2 laps with these guys scrapping so much. And Will back up into 2nd. Lickle into 3rd. Blizzard now down into 4th and dropping back a little bit. So I don't know whether he's ERS saving or anything like that. They're all pretty much the same and all pretty much saving as you can imagine. Rafa slowly catching, but only a couple of attempts at the moment. The DRS zone yet again. Nothing from these guys. Blizzard sticking with them for now. Oh, running wide again through turn 8 and 9. It's really been a troublesome corner for that Williams driver. And with the multiple time penalties he's got, it's not looking good if he does manage to get into the podium. Will very slow into the hairpin. Catches Lickle out and catches Blizzard as well. So here we go then, on board of the Hards driver. DRS yet again. Is he going to be able to get past into the final chicane or indeed turn 1? Will's got very, very good top end speed. You can see that nothing's going to happen between these two. Will moves back over onto the racing line for the final chicane. Do they all keep it clean for the chicane? They do. We'll jump back on board of the Haas driver then. We'll come off it as well as he goes to the racing line. But now the outside for turn 1. Will defend it on the inside. Oh, that's a great move by Lickle around the outside. That's not an easy move to pull off, going around the outside of turn 1 to have the inside for turn 2. And Lickle up into second place. Pushes Will down to third. Blizzard hanging on in fourth. This is pretty much the only action we're going to see, I think, before the end of this race. Onyx is absolutely gone. There he is in the lead. No point looking at him unless he makes a mistake. Everyone else further behind Rafa, not really catching. Those medium tyres are, they're a few laps older. They're probably past their use by date at the moment, as Will's coming back at Lickle here into 8 and 9. They've got to keep it clean through here if they can. One little bit of contact there, we'll see him into the wall, and Blizzard will take advantage of Will's poor exit through turn 9. We'll try it round the outside of 10, but he's got to get his braking right, not hit the back of Lickle. He might have got away with just a little bit of a love tap. No, sideways out the hairpin, and Blizzard's hard work to try and get into third is thrown away. And that is now slowly bringing Rafa into this. He can see these guys scrapping very, very hard for second, third and fourth ahead. And Rafa, I feel, will join that in the next couple of laps. But he's running out of time. He's running out of time to do so. So come through the final chicane yet again. Lickle in second. Will try something here, I think, into turn 1. Lickle in the middle of a circuit, doing his best to defend the apex for 1. He's run a little deeper into turn 2. Will won't be able to get past going through 3 and 4. Further back, Gonolan has managed to get past Speed Barry for P10, but I don't know if he set the new fastest lap or not. The rest of the order I don't think really will change unless there's penalties at the end. So like I said, this is the only real battle on circuit, and thank God we've got at least a battle out there, and it's for P2, P3 and P4. Jai coming in saying Blizzard's head is gone. Possibly, because Lickle and Will do seem quicker. But Blizzard is hanging on with that DRS. We'll jump on board of the Williams driver. He's not close enough, I don't think, unless he tries a cheeky dive bomb into 10. Here comes Blizzard and all of this as well. They're so close together. Will, I think, with a better exit there. No, Lickle had a good exit as well, coming out of the hairpin. So here we go again. Lap 33 or 35. DRS yet again. A potential move yet again. Lickle defends the inside. Will very close. Breezes round the outside of that DRS. And I think Blizzard might try something as well into turn 1. Went a great exit through the final chicane. Rafa still not agonisingly close enough. 3 laps to go, including the one these guys have just started. It's VSR Wayne in 8th, picks up another penalty. So Will now back up into 2nd. Lickle 3rd, Blizzard in 4th. Don't know how many penalties these guys have got. I know Blizzard's got a few. I'm pretty sure Lickle has 1 or 2. Don't know about Will. I don't know if anything's popped up for him. I do miss sometimes when it does pop up at the bottom. I could look at the race director, but I don't. I don't like doing it. As I said before, I like to let the race flow, call the action as I see it, and then wait to see when these guys cross the line at the end to see if anyone does move up or down the order. And Blizzard again struggling through 8 and 9. That really has been his Achilles heel in this race. And we're trying to bridge somewhat of a gap as we come into the main DRS zone here. Lickle will need a good exit. He'll have DRS yet again, but Will's quite a long way ahead here, and Blizzard's quite far back as well, so nothing is going to happen this lap between these guys. So Onyx carries on nearly 21 seconds ahead of these guys. And this is going to be a fight to the death, I feel, for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. And if Rafa's kept it relatively clean, he might sneak a podium here if the drivers ahead have too many penalties. Lambo though holding on to that 6th place. Truesdale slowly closing in, but both of them have pushed these hard tyres very, very far into the race. VSR Wayne on a fresher set of mediums, but he's a few seconds back. Aaron a long way back in 9th place. He's been in the wars a few times. Same for Gononan in 10th. Speed Barry in 11th, just hoping and praying that someone falls out. Francis left the session a long time ago, and Onyx coming down to start his final lap. In the second half of this race, he really has controlled the pace. and left these three guys, Will Murdoch, Lickle and Blizzard, to scrap over second, third and fourth themselves. They'll all have DRS. I think Will get it because he was attempting to lap the ghosted car of Francis. We'll see when he comes across the line. He does have it. So that's going to help Will defend into the final chicane and turn one coming into the final lap. Are we going to get any last lap drama here with these guys? They all keep it clean through the final chicane. I think Lickle is a little close here coming down to turn one, but he's not close enough to try a move. Onyx in with a 21 second lead. We'll have a look at the fastest lap. It is still Onyx with a 10.095. So as it stands at the moment, he's looking at picking up 26 championship points here. But his battle for second, third and fourth is not over. Rafa's dropped back though, so his tyres are gone at this point. He's now 3 seconds away from these guys. It was about 1.5 a lap or two ago. And these guys are so close together. Will then moving the car around, trying to break the toe as best as he can. Blizzard's still too far back. Nothing is going to be able to be done. Maybe something into the hairpin. But we'll come back to Onyx then. We'll just have a quick look into the hairpin, see if anyone is close enough. And not, I don't think. So we'll come back to Onyx then, coming into and out of the final chicane for the 35th and final time. The second half of this race has been a dominant display by the Williams driver. A thoroughly deserved 26 points it will be. Congratulations to Onyx. But we come back to this battle and Murdoch has got to defend. He doesn't have a DRS this time, and Lickle is going to try a last lap do or die move around the outside for P2. Blizzard will be hoping they trip over each other, and another great move by Lickle around the outside into the final chicane. P2 across the line. Will be P3. Do they keep these positions? They do for now, but here comes Rafa. Is he going to jump up the order? He doesn't. He stays in P5. Lambo, a great drive by McLaren. He jumps Rafa, so Rafa had penalties. Lambo with a season best of P5. Truesdale, our championship leader, in 6th. Rafa and Wayne classified 7th and 8th. We wait for Aaron, Gonanan and Speed Barry to cross the line as well. Aaron in 9th, Gonanan in 10th, who picks up a 5-second underserved penalty. So Speed Barry might get the final point here. He does indeed, as he attempts and fails to crash into the pit lane wall. So congratulations to VSR Onyx. It was close at the start of this race with his teammate and a few others, but a few mistakes and a good pit stop strategy as well saw Onyx romp away with the race win here. The 26 points he'll collect for the fastest lap, and a fantastic move by Lickle around the outside of Will Murdoch into the final chicane on the final lap gifts the Haas driver his first podium of the season in 2nd place. And Will, even though he'll be disappointed to not take 2nd, that's 2 podiums in the last 2 weeks for the reserve driver. A very strong result for him, and I'm sure all 3 of them will be very happy with their overall results. So there is the final classification. No penalties for Onyx. Lickle had 3 seconds, Will had 6, Blizzard had 9, so it was always going to be that final order between those 3. Lambo, good result for the McLaren driver in 5th place. He'll be happy with the 10 points. Outside of it is Truesdale in 6th, a recovery drive for a championship leader. Rafa in 7th, Wayne in 8th for Alfa Romeo. Disappointing weekend again for the Alfa Romeo team. Aaron Collingwood picks up 2 points in 9th. Speed Barry picks up the final point in 10th. Gonanan, our last classified runner, in 11th. Francis disconnected from the session, or rage quit the session early on. We lost Dusty at mid-race, Paris as well, and then It's Me, Poe, Liam Yo and Sparks were all very early casualties in this race. Do stay tuned, and I'll try to get the top 3 in for the podium interviews. So all three drivers have now joined me for the podium interviews. Guys, if you could double check your party settings to allow your voice to be shared for the broadcast so we don't get any awkward silences, and can also make sure your microphone is muted unless of course it's your turn to answer the question. I'll give you all a few seconds to double check your settings before we begin. So then, all three of you, congratulations on the podium. Each of you had different races, I should feel, but we'll come to Onyx first of all. Very close with your teammate in qualifying in the first half of the race. Then it sort of changed and developed. Blizzard made a pit stop, changed his front wing, dropped him down the order. You found yourself in clean space whilst other drivers pitted as well. The virtual safety cars might have helped you as well, and towards the end of the race, you was clearly in front. A dominant display certainly in the second half of the race, and the fastest lap as well. It must be nice to be back on the top step of the podium and maybe start clawing away at the guys ahead of you in the championship. Give us your initial thoughts after this race. You must be delighted, of course.
Yeah, of course, it's my first win of the season. Nice drive, pole, and drove away. I was able to pit during the virtual safety car, so I won a lot of time and overtook the guys on the hards and drove, made a second pit stop and drove away quite easily.
Yeah, I mean, were you expecting a race-long battle with your own teammate? Of course, he had his own problems with the damage on the front wing and then being held up, battling other cars as well. So were you first of all surprised by his pace? Because it's the first time this season we've really seen Blizzard show, the potential that we all know he's got. And were you expecting, as I said, a race-long battle with your teammate?
No, it wasn't new for me. He's quick, so not really. I know he's really quick. He got some damage, and yeah, it cost us a 1-2 today.
And looking ahead to the next couple of races as well, are you expecting to push on from this very good performance as well and start to claw away at the Alpha and Omega guys ahead of you? And do you still see Truesdale as a bit of a target ahead, even though he is quite a few points ahead of you?
Of course, always try to look forward and try to win a championship, but yeah, coming some good tracks for me, except from France. Don't really like the France track, but the rest of it is looking good for me.
Well, congratulations on the race win and the fastest lap tonight. Very tricky in the first half of the race battling your teammate, but you pulled away and created a gap in the second half of the race. So a comfortable run it was in the end to the line. So congratulations on the race win, and thank you for joining me for the podium interview. Thank you. It takes us on to Lickle then in the Haas, his first podium of the season. Lickle, you've been flirting with a podium for most of the season, a couple of fourths, a couple of fifth places as well. You've been strong all season, but just haven't reached that next step of getting into the top three as well. A great battle with Will Murdoch and Blizzard in the final 10 laps as well. Some great moves as well, out around the outside of turn 1 a few laps before the end, and then right at the end as well, round the outside going into the final chicane. You must have been pumping the air with joy after pulling that move off and securing second place.
Yeah, you could definitely say that, really. But for joy, also shaking after that, because what a tense battle was between Will and Blizzard, and it was just constant. Either I have to overtake Blizzard or I have to defend from it, then Will will come out of the equation. But it's just amazing. I was like struggling to put it into words, and finally, it's really good to be back on the podium after such a long time away.
Yeah, you've been one of those drivers this season that's been consistently fighting in the top 5 and top 6, but just haven't had the luck of the green to finally make the step onto the podium as well. Was there a few moments tonight where you were close to losing it as well, and maybe clipping the wall and picking up some damage? Because we saw, with a track like Canada as well, it's so easy, it's certainly battling as hard and as fast as that. It's so easy to make one little mistake and completely throw your race away. So you must have been on a knife edge for them last 10 laps battling those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there was one moment that caught my eye out. I was coming down to turn 1. I made a move on Will, and I must have braked a little late, and Blizzard turned in. I hit his rear left, and we both halves had to try to save the coils. Really, that was the moment where I felt like, oh, that could have definitely been thrown away, but luckily it didn't.
Yeah, and just talking about your strategy then, obviously Canada being a circuit with such a short pit lane here, and the fact it exits onto the outside of turn 2, the race time between a 1-stop and a 2-stop is very quite similar. It basically depends on track position and how quickly you can get back up to speed and overtake cars. Your strategy tonight, obviously soft, medium, seems to be the favoured strategy with you guys around you. Was that always the strategy you was going to run, or going into qualifying and then the race you was thinking of maybe adapting and modifying it and running a different strategy?
Um, let's just say during quali, I went out on the hards and I was watching the stream to see what the majority of the strategy was. Because if everyone's going to go softs, I was going to go softs because I didn't want to lose out on track position. So really, I didn't have a clue what I was going on to for the race. But turned out the strategy I went for was the one I favoured. But I feel like I need to get a hold of the strategies a bit more and know what I need to do when entering a race.
Yeah, just talking about, obviously, like you say, getting a hold of strategy as well. Do you do a lot of practice before each race? You know, obviously time trial is one thing, but then obviously doing Grand Prix mode and multiplayer as well does give you the option to fiddle about with setups and strategy. So is that something you're going to maybe look on for the next few races, get a hold of getting the strategy right, and then maybe start to see you consistently fight for more podiums?
Yeah, definitely. I have a few people that I know or speak to quite regularly that practice, so I'm sure I'll jump in on the practice and definitely make sure I have a clue what strategy to go for the next race and the foreseeable ones.
And looking ahead for the next race as well, France at the Paul Ricard circuit, fairly new to the calendar, although it's been on now for 2 generations of this game, so you've had plenty of time to race round there. Some people love the circuit, me included. Others find it a bit bland and boring. What's your take on the Paul Ricard circuit, and are you looking forward to it next week?
I'm exactly like you, Lily. I love the track. Had good results around there in the past in other leagues and really good pace. And if I practice, I think I'll be able to keep it up and possibly be on the podium again if I keep penalties low. And who knows, maybe try going one better than this week.
Well, you've been flirting with a podium pretty much all season so far, and you've finally managed to secure it at the 7th round at Canada with some great overtakes in the later part of the race as well. So congratulations on P2, and thank you for joining me for the podium interviews.
My pleasure, Lily.
Pleasure was all mine, my friend. That takes me on to our 3rd place driver, Will Murdoch, in the Mercedes. A reserve driver, he deputised for Speed Barry last week and picked up a fantastic 2nd at Monaco. And another very tricky sort of street circuit, you say here as well, deputising for Louis with a 3rd place as well. First of all, Will, sum up your thoughts. Are you disappointed to not be 2nd? Are you overjoyed to be 3rd? Because like Lickle as well, you guys were involved in an intense last 10-lap battle there between all 3 of you. It could have gone either way. So to be on the podium, I think, is a good result for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the podium's definitely good. I think I could have easily got set. I made a mistake going into the hairpin on the last lap. I put it into neutral, gave Lickle the run, and then he just did me round the outside. As much as a podium is good in ILR1, it is a shame that I couldn't bring it home in P2, but I'm definitely a lot happier than what other people probably would be in the league after the race. I heard there was a few incidents behind, but I just tried to keep it clean. Made a few mistakes. I know that I got a penalty early on. My plan was just to not get any penalties and just keep it clean, I guess. And then that sort of went out the window when I got my first pen, and then I obviously got that last pen on the last corner of the last lap. But it didn't really mean anything. But overall, I've definitely taken on the podium, considering I've not been in this top division before, apart from last week. So yeah.
Now, obviously, it's difficult being a reserve driver. You don't know, let's say, for example, Onyx and Lickle, who finished 1st and 2nd tonight, they know they're racing next week unless they can't. You don't know. You get a call up probably maybe a day or 2 before. So, how do you approach these events? Because do you go away now and maybe do some small practice for France, maybe some set-up work and tyre strategy work in the off chance you do get called? Or is it a case of you basically don't practice for ILR1 until you get a call up? But again, it could be very short before the race. So, how as a reserve driver do you sort of focus on each event as it comes? Because as I said, you don't now have a week to prepare. You may only have a day or 2.
You've just got to take it as it comes, I guess. This week I actually messaged Jack saying, is there any chance I can race this week? Because last week I noticed that Lakitu wasn't racing for the next 3 weeks, so I messaged him. But I wasn't told that I was able to race until a couple of hours before. So in that couple of hours, you've got to do consistent qualifying runs and a few race runs here and there, a few stints, just to really get used to the car, what it's like in qualifying and race.
Yeah, so it's obviously not easy, as you said. You only had a couple of hours tonight as well, so to come away with a podium result is, the limited practice you've done has obviously worked for you. Next two races, we'll talk about them because we don't know when you're going to be racing again. We've got France next week at Paul Ricard, then obviously the Red Bull Ring at Austria as well. If you do get called up for either of them or both of them, are you looking forward to racing at both of them circuits? Because both of them for a different, unique challenge. France, of course, is a bit downforce heavy as well, not a million places to overtake. And then we go to Austria with the DRS and the long straights as well, is the complete opposite. So are you looking forward to maybe one or both of them?
I'm looking forward to both of them. I think both of them are definitely really good, strong tracks for me, especially with the corners. I like tracks that normally have a few straights and a few corners that are definitely good overtaking places. Austria always brings a good racing. France I'm quite good at. It is quite a track that I enjoy. So just hoping I can get called up for them races and just deliver like I have in the last 2 weeks.
Well, the performances you've been putting in both Monaco and tonight here in Canada as a reserve driver certainly make a lot of people in ILR and ILR1 stand up and take notice. So I'm pretty sure that the next time you do get a call up, whenever it will be, I think everyone will be slightly worried about the performances and the pace that you can bring in. And if you keep it up with all of these reserve runs you're doing, I'm pretty sure that no doubt sometime in the near future you'll be given a full-time seat if it is yours for the taking. But for now, anyway, congratulations. 2 podiums in 2 weeks as a reserve driver is no easy feat to do. Good performance tonight again from yourself with a long battling with Lickle and Blizzard, and congratulations on the third place.
Cheers.
Thank you. Vette Belfort takes the podium interviews and the stream to the end. You've still got a few people watching. I know the podium interviews aren't for everyone. It's basically a few people sitting there chatting for 15-20 minutes. But for those of you that either do watch the podium interviews back or do stay to the end of the stream, it is appreciated with all the hard work that myself and the league does as well. A very, very entertaining race around Canada, which we was always expecting. It'd be nice to have more finishers. That incident, obviously, in the first few laps, they're taking out a lot of the back markers as well. Really did put pay to that. But we had a fantastic battle for second, third and fourth between Lickle, Will and Blizzard as well. So thank you very much to each and every single one of you that either tuned in for this stream or are watching this race back after it's all done, and I'll see you guys next week at 5 o'clock. But of course, Canada's not over. We've got ILR2 and ILR3 kicking off in just under an hour's time, so do make sure you tune in for that, because I'm sure we'll get some more action as well. But for me, my name is Alex Lilliart. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys 5 o'clock next week in France.